Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, coffee moaners and groaners, roamers and boomers, and hope. How are you all? Oh, Chi-Chi's fused herself with the actual cushion. She looks so sweet. How is everyone? Is it raining where you are? Is it miserable? Is it stormy? I love miserable weather. Sorry, I just do. Hi, Lee. Hi, Tony Dunsford. Hi, Jackie Roswell. Hi, Pauline Roberts. Welcome to the Saturday newspapers. Not a snooze paper. Whose strapline was that? A newspaper, not a snooze paper. Whose strapline was that? Or let's put it another way. Welcome to the mainstream media headlines. Let's put it that way. Because you're only going to get what they want you to read. Oh, it's raining in Washington, UK. Oh, God, you don't think of Washington in the UK, do you? I wonder is there a New York in the UK? Is there a New York? Hi, Ellen. Hi, April Hill. Hi, Deborah Holdsworth. I can't. We're on StreamYard. It's too hard to kind of. Oh, she's going to fight. Oh, bless her. You left her mid tummy stroke. And that was Dina. Dina, get up. Morning, Becky. Morning, everyone. What can we say? It's just another shit show of a week. It's just another week of the news, just kind of giving an incredibly one-sided account of everything. Just giving us their one-sided account of everything, especially the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Now, obviously, a lot of the newspapers, it's not a march today, is it? It's a gathering. It's a rally. It's a rally in Trafalgar Square. We're going to talk about that. Is anyone else here? Where do you sit on the Palestine-Israel crisis? Obviously, we're going to touch upon it in the news. We are going to push through to sort of lighter-hearted stories and a bit more frilly and frill and fluff. But what are your thoughts on the crisis? I realise we haven't really just asked you. What do you think? What do you think? Oh, good morning, Butterfly Bell. That is a nice coffee. Hi, Mark. Where did you get your Last of Us hat? We were sent it, actually. We were sent it by The Last of Us. Did you see boss Bassem Youssef's recent interview with Piers Morgan? I think so. Is Bassem Youssef the journalist? Yes, comedian journalist with the piercingly blue eyes. Yes, I did. And astonishing. Used to be a heart surgeon and then pivoted, as heart surgeons do, towards stand-up comedy. Did you see the people praying outside Downing Street? Too many innocent people being killed. Sharon Wilson, I'm more for the Palestinian. Both sides are at fault. Bev Berry. Just getting a sense of where you're all at. Ali P, I feel it's all. My sense is that most people here will be feeling the humanity and the innocent civilians that are caught up in this. Lexical. I don't know what the answer is to the Israel-Palestine situation, but it's not. It's not what's going on right now. Capture that grade. Willoughby shouldn't be calling it a hate march to be against the destruction. Well, I want to talk about that. I do want to talk about that. I think we're in a staggeringly worrisome situation, and a lot of the papers. What are the specifics of what the papers are looking at? In terms of the Palestine-Israel crisis, in the British press, not surprisingly, because it's right-wing press, everyone's very, very worried and upset about the potential disrespect, as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak calls it, the disrespect towards our heroes. Don't disrespect our heroes. Now, I find this really curious. I feel this is almost more provocative than the march, because this is saying something that's quite astounding, really, which is you can't feel more than one thing at one time, and that somehow to feel what you feel about the atrocities that both happened on the October the 7th attacks, but subsequent to that, let's not beat around the bush, have pretty much been consistently since towards the Palestinian population. I think it's disrespectful to say that it's disrespectful. That's what I think. I think Rishi Sunak is disrespectful to every single dead Israeli and dead Palestinian individual for even suggesting it's disrespectful to march, protest, or call for kindness. This is the most disrespectful thing a prime minister could have said. Don't arse about throwing this red meat to your Cotswoldites. It's an absolute travesty to try and draw this cultural kind of division. Absolute nonsense.
And can you also add that nobody's going anywhere near the cenotaph, and it's not going to start until way after the 11
I'm sure. Can you hear that? They're not even going to go near the cenotaph. This isn't about this. It's in Hyde Park. It's just. This is red meat designed to inflame. Designed to inflame, designed to cause division, designed to suggest that any form of protest has to inherently be anti-Semitic. When we are watching, and which it isn't, when we are watching a country destroy another country. I mean, self-defense was an argument for a while. We are way, 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 way beyond self-defense, as the Premier of Ireland said. This has gone into revenge. This has gone into, and it went into this quite early, collective punishment. This is, I was just having a brief exchange with someone on Instagram saying, what you don't understand is not all Palestinians and no Palestinians want to join Hamas. This isn't Hamas. Look at Hamas like this. Let's think of Hamas in a different way. Hamas is the horrible pus that builds in a spot when the disease in the body has nowhere else to go. Okay, so let's characterize the horrors of Hamas for what they are. We're not pretending they're nice guys, but this is the outward articulation of frustration, disenfranchisement, and an inability to change illegal activities of a nation state, Israel, in the West Bank and Palestine. What you have to understand is October the 7th was absolutely deplorable. But unless you deal with that core problem, it will happen again. It will happen again. So old Rishi No Pants, PM, don't disrespect. No one's disrespecting our heroes, you total muppet. No one.
One thing. Over the next 30 days, roughly 5,000 babies are due to be born in Gaza. The entire health system collapsed a week ago, and that's from Doctors Without Borders.
Exactly.
Médecins Sans Frontières. Imagine that. And women are having to have cesareans with no anaesthetic, and he says it's disrespectful. He's just trying to cause a fight. But people will continue to protest peacefully.
And we've talked a lot about how I certainly have talked always over the years about how I think it's really important to remember the dead, to remember our armed forces, to remember the horrors that they've all gone through. But it's about, surely, okay, let's look at this another way, Rishi on a dishy. If Rishi, pull your pants up, if the armistice and if everything that we talk about is true regarding remembering our heroes and remembering the fallen and the awfulness of war, etc., this should be the time to hold hands with Israeli civilians and Palestinian civilians rather than driving a wedge. Isn't that the sensibility of Remembrance Sunday? And no. Abby Reed, I've had my Instagram blocked for sharing Jewish people talking against the IDF. We're in tricky. We're in dodgy. It's like everyone's trying to tighten the narrative. Everyone's trying to straitjacket voices. Everyone's trying to characterize. If you're concerned for Palestine, you support Hamas. If you're concerned for Palestine, you're an anti-Semite. It's an absolutely simplistic, grossly simplistic, bloody obvious. What gets me more than the actual act of that, because that's happened for years, is the way people just don't even challenge it and people just accept it. It's like why are people willingly just kind of going, I'm not going to use my brain here? There is a reason for the appalling activities that happened on October the 7th. Doesn't justify the terrorism, but where have we got to as humans that we don't look at the cause of things? What? So little Rishi on a dishy, little Rishi sat there totally starstruck with Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who's Elon Musk, who's shown, the only fucking person who's shown any fucking nous and said, yes, the aid agencies can use Starlink, supplying satellite to internationally recognized aid agencies is considered wrong by Israel and presumably their allies in the West. What an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Don't disrespect our heroes. Don't disrespect humanity, mate. No ceasefire till our hostages are back is Netanyahu's line in the sand. Hezbollah announced yesterday that they called for a pause, but they fell short of declaring war, which is good for everyone involved. But it's a kind of tense reminder that this could spread. This could spread quickly. I know old Blinken is in Jordan, actually. Betty, Teddy, I don't know if you're there watching. I think Blinken's heading to your country. On the front of, so we got Hezbollah leader saying they could potentially do anything they want. Chief rabbis protest fears. Look, here's the thing. The problem with all of this is, of course, anti-Semitism is going to be on the rise, and that is deplorable. It is appalling. But what mustn't happen is a critique and a criticism of Israeli foreign policy become conflated with anti-Semitism. And that's why it's such a shame that someone's just said that there are hundreds and hundreds of Israeli citizens, Jewish citizens of the world, who are absolutely in a state of apoplexy about about the policy. Everyone wants a two-state solution. Everyone wants both countries to live in harmony alongside each other. Everyone wants to get rid of the extremists on both sides. The problem we have here is, and I think a lot of people in Israel would agree with this, we have an extremist Israeli government. It's a fact. And again, going back to this strange, curious argument that some Tory MP said, if your army wears uniforms, you can't be a terrorist. I've never heard anything so fucking stupid in all my life. I've never heard. Even our army has been found guilty of war atrocities in Afghanistan. Just because you wear a uniform, look at the Russian army. It's a joke. It's all a joke. So this headline, chief rabbis protest fears. Now look, there has to be conversations had here. Supporters of hateful Hamas are going unchallenged, says the chief rabbi here. He warns before marches planned for Armistice Day. What has to be said here is that, yes, this is all going to it's feeding Islamophobia. State-driven Islamophobia is on the increase as much as anti-Semitism is. And those two facts, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, are both direct consequences of the entire situation. They are both being caused and aggravated. I'll tell you what Israel's foreign policy, you know how people say all the time, one of the big defenders of attacking the entire population of Palestine is this, is Hamas hide behind their citizens. Okay, let me just reposition this in a different way. You could argue that Netanyahu hides behind Israel. You could argue that, in terms of Israeli civilians live in their country. Palestinian civilians live in their countries. Some of the Palestinian civilians are Hamas. Some of the Israeli population are Netanyahuites. So this argument, which was another one of the headlines, which really struck me last night, which was this ambulance strike. This is becoming the mea culpa, is it? This is becoming the sort of explanation or get around. This is the workaround on hitting hospitals, schools, refugee centers, and now ambulance. Ambulance we hit was being used by Hamas, says Israel. Right. If this is true, we go back to the argument that you wouldn't do that. If there was a Hamas extremist who'd hijacked a coach in Tel Aviv, you wouldn't blow the coach up. You just wouldn't. So let's move one step further. If you're going to say that there was a Hamas terrorist on the ambulance, deliver the international community the absolute intelligence that proves that. Because at the very least, on that instance, you can disagree with the methods, but if you give the evidence, give the literal, strategic, presumably mobile phone, telephony, satellite, everything, give us everything. Give us everything. And that will help to kind of dissuade some people that this is just an absolute act of revenge. Hey? Tom Knowles, nothing contradictory here. What's contradictory about anything that's being said here? Nothing is contradictory. What is contradictory? There is no contradiction in this. The only people generating contradiction is the mainstream media. There is no contradiction here. Spell it out for me. Spell it out for me. So, this argument that we can justify hitting hospitals, justify hitting schools because there's a Hamas person in there. Is this what really? Come on, guys. There used to be a time that when I seem to remember back in the 90s, a United Nations worker was shot by an Israel in suspicious circumstances, or there was a bomb, or there was something, and there had to be an enormous international inquiry into this, huge international inquiry with every aid agency, the UN, Geneva Convention, everyone was descending upon this. Man, we've lost over 100 aid workers we don't even think about it. Journalists are having to take their caps off because the journalistic mark of a shirt means nothing. You want to say it's contradictory because you don't want people to think one thought and then necessarily have to reach to another thought. There's not a contradiction in that. It's called having a brain and thinking through things. People don't want to think through things. People don't want to ask complicated questions. People can't cope with more than one thing. Well, the problem is they can. But the media encourages you not to. They want to deliver you news and an emotion that's easy to digest and salves fury, anger, injustice, whatever. And there is a clear attempt to squash any description of what Israel is doing, because the onus is only on Israel at the moment, because Israel is the one that's actually invading and doing what it's doing in Gaza. Israel had the sympathy of the world and does have the sympathy of the world when it comes to the hostages and when it comes to what happened there. But equally, unless you absolutely get in there, well, no, Tom, don't go out. Tell us how. Come on, put some meat on your bones. Don't just sit there now pretending it's like, oh, I can't say anything. You can't just say it. Say what the contradiction is, mate. Come on, just say it. I'm up for it. Let's do it. So someone else who should know better, look, Andrew Neil, the UN attacks Israel for being attacked and is hostile. No one's attacking Israel for being attacked. No one's saying it's wrong. Maybe people are saying what's happening right now isn't right. It's staggering. And not all of us, and to be fair, not all of you, so huge numbers of people aren't just sort of lapping this stuff up, but it's just like, what? It's what? What? Oh, here we go. Here you come. Goodbye. I could see what you're up to. Cheerio, fella. Cheerio. Anyway. Oh, look, and just in case we didn't realise that actually it was a war with two sides. Yes, you're seeing all sorts of terrible atrocities, children, the amount of children, 500, aid agencies are saying 500 children are dying, around 500 Palestinian children are dying a day. 422, I think it is. What is that? They'll now, don't worry, I've had to get, it's clear what's going on there. So, we have zero tolerance. So I know what you're doing. You just can't string an argument together. But here, look, just in case we doubted that it was a war, here's the moment that Hamas planted a bomb on an Israeli tank captured on film. Yeah. Every act of violence on both sides, every act of violence is totally, totally reprehensible. But if you try to stop understanding why, we will never get the solution. And we cannot pretend that apartheid, which is what it is fair. We used to think in the West that the ANC, we would agree at one point in the past, can you believe this, that the ANC was a prescribed terrorist organization. Again, killing is not right. But if we don't try and understand what has driven people to extreme choices, then we're never going to get an answer. Never going to get an answer. So there you go. That's the news around. It's just again. The point is. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Cheerio to you too. So, you just be mindful. Just be mindful of when you're reading stuff of where they're trying to take you and where they're trying to nudge you and all that kind of stuff. So, let's move on to the lighter-hearted stuff, shall we? The stuff that the mainstream media can sort of is less manipulative around, or are they? So what have we got here? Holly Willoughby. Hideaway Holly now wonders if she'll ever be ready to do TV again. This is the chap. He was in court yesterday, pleaded not guilty to the kidnap and murder plot. And this is some speculative Daily Mail piece about, is she thinking her career is over? Though yesterday we were talking about the fact that she might present Gladiator. So that could be fun, couldn't it? But yeah, so he did pop into court. It was weird. The story broke yesterday, and then the story sort of disappeared. Mushroom poison cook tried to kill husband. Now this is interesting. I've seen so many photos of this. This woman looks so distressed, and this is this story that's very easy for it to become sort of not serious. But people have died. This is serious. I mean, I would have thought that if you manage to kill 3 people at one meal, are you a serial killer? I think you are. Mushroom poison cook tried to kill husband 4 times. And this is the story that we've mentioned before, where her ex-husband certainly felt after a few occasions that he didn't feel too well after eating food by her. So is this not going to become one of the greatest real crime podcasts of all time? There's going to be a period of time where I know I'm trying to talk to Nads and she's going to not hear me, and she's going to be like, no, I'm just listening to the mushroom poison cook. And it's massive, isn't it? It's massive. This story I saw yesterday, and it's terrible, isn't it? How you're prioritizing all the time, aren't you? What news stories you're looking at, what you check out online, and all this kind of stuff. But this story I found quite disturbing. This is the story of the terrible death of Zara Alina, the horrific sex attack that lasted 9 minutes. I can't actually believe this. And as the headline says, the message this conveys to women is disheartening. Zara family fury. The killer's jail term was cut. And do you want to know why the killer's jail term was cut? By 5 years. 3 appeal judges yesterday ruled that his 38-year minimum sentence was excessive because the victim was unconscious early on in the attack.
No.
And there was no, quote, additional suffering.
No.
Despite having 46 separate... I could not. I read into the first paragraph. I thought, why has this guy had his... So let me read that again. They reduced his term by 5 years because they said his term of 38 was excessive because the victim he killed was unconscious early on in the attack.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The world has literally lost itself. Tell me that is not true.
It's true. Her family have said today's decision to reduce the minimum sentence for this repugnant man aligns with an established legal sentencing which we comprehend, yet the message it conveys is disheartening, suggesting a life sentence isn't truly what it is.
Her poor mother. Did you show the picture of the girl? I mean... oh my God.
Because she was unconscious. Vicky says it's not because he was being thoughtful, was it?
Oh my God.
Quite staggering.
And how can they know at what point she was as well?
Exactly.
Oh, that's so unbelievable.
Absolutely astonishing. Tonally, I'm not going to do the next story off the back of that because it's not right. Oh no, I'll come back to it, but it's not the right story. Well, this again, I just saw this. Anger as red arrows. Chiefs stay in their posts after sex scandal. This is female victims of sexual harassment at the Red Arrows have been criticised because they've allowed officers to remain. A blasé leadership, toxic male culture, heavy drinking, heavy sort of pressure on female members of staff or pilots, members of the Red Arrows. They flash their genitals and they would adopt something called Shark Watch, whereby one of them would monitor the advances of men at social events because they were so accustomed to predatory behaviour. That's what the women had to do. Bedded in misogyny. Just hideous, isn't it? Let me just what's this next story here? This is awful as well. Family of tenant who killed himself over noise. Accused firm of gross failing. This is something that just reminded me of when one was renting. How, if you had a neighbour that was disturbing or disruptive or what have you, it was really hard to get your landlord or organisation to do anything about it. And this poor chap here. So the family of a vulnerable man. This is the man here, Mark Pierce. He killed himself after the UK's largest landlord, Clarion, failed to address the neighbourly noise, which was so extreme he had to end up, I haven't taken a photograph of it, sleeping in his kitchen. The land letting agency, his family claimed, just treated him like a number. And it just made me think, God, incredibly difficult, when you are a tenant and you've got just the noise every side of someone, just making noise. And so again, in this sort of, really, rents are going through the roof, the cost of living crisis, all this kind of stuff. And then you've got landlords that won't even take noise seriously. So yeah, this is a family who are taking the largest social landlord, Clarion, to court for not listening to him or heeding his issues. I'm just going to go back to this one. This is Diary of I thought this was a clever headline. But Diary of a Gimpy Kid. The guy who was a gimp has been ordered not to wriggle, not to gibber, and not to wear masks. This was the chap in where was he? In Somerset. The Somerset Gimp has been asked to pay and to not writhe around on the floor anymore. So yeah, how do you enforce not writhing around on the floor? That's what I want to know. What story is this? We're going to move on from that. £350. It was the terrible story of the young boy who was rescued in the Thai caves. I don't know if you remember the film by Ron Howard, was it? Rescued, saved, tragically committed suicide recently, but it's quite an involved story. Really, really sad. This is in the Sun. £350 turkeys. Shops are selling supersized turkeys for as much as 350 quid. Well, that's the one that you get at Fortnum and Mason's ultimate centerpiece, a 10-bird roast. What's a 10-bird roast? What does that mean, 10 birds? A turkey, a chicken, 2 partridges, 2... Oh, my God, you've got all of them inside it. No. Oh, my God. The birds have been combined into this neat roast, tied to resemble a whole bird. Oh, I see. I don't know if I'd like that. It's a bit weird. Any Taylor Swift fans? It's the era of the Swiftie. Taylor Swift's new album has seen her become the female artist with the most number one LPs this millennium. I didn't think the sort of whole kind of music charts thing still existed. I thought, can you still get to number one? I didn't even know there was a number one to be had. I thought you were just like the most popular on Spotify. Or the re-recording of a 2014 release, now titled 1989, is her 11th UK. That's not strictly the same thing, is it? Let's face it. Look, Lou's talking. Rebecca Lewis is considering a string of TV offers to spill the beans. As she says, the documentary kind of rubbished the idea that they had an affair. Would you be interested in that? I don't know if I would be. I missed the UK top 40. Yeah, top 40 charts on a Sunday was a nice thing, wasn't it? It was a nice thing. Look at this. Bloomin' hell. Good, fantastic headline there. Heston Blumenthal's wife prangs £80,000 car 4x4. I think she was just trying to park. Look at that, though. I mean, look at it. She climbed these other cars, and I think her mum and her daughter were in the passenger side, and they couldn't get out. She could, but they couldn't. And so the fire engines had to come along and rescue her family. I mean, you've got that's a right old mess, isn't it? Look at that. Trying to reverse park. Brainiest teen will take 28 A-levels. A teenager is aiming to complete 28 A-levels after getting 34 GCSEs, all at top grades. You are having a laugh. 34 GCSEs?
You're going to share them?
Wow. Manor Chima, 16. She has an IQ of 161, higher than Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking. Wow. She completed 24 GCSEs in her own time, alongside 10 she sat at school. What? She's going to take 28. I didn't know there were 28 A-levels to take. Roller coaster. Newlyweds booted off ride for being too big. God, that's not very nice. An adrenaline junkie spending his honeymoon at Alton Towers was booted off a ride for being too fat. Humiliated Simeon Dykes has already enjoyed the Smiler ride early in the day, but was left in tears after returning. You're too big for the ride, mate, they said. That's a tricky one, that, isn't it? The Beatles have been brought back together not only in song but also in a very odd-looking video, which Peter Jackson has pulled together using archive footage. I don't know why. There's something about this that makes me want to like all of it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a Beatles fan even, but some part of me wants to just really get down with the Beatles. Does anyone else find that? 28th A-level Me Too is an A-level on A-level exams. I like that. Yeah, has anyone seen the video? Has anyone heard the song? Oh, you watched the video, Reese. Is it worth watching? Is it kind of interesting? Peter Jackson obviously directed Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. I might just have to watch it. It's one of those curiosities, isn't it? What else have we got here? Big Brother. We've missed Big Brother, but apparently there's a heck of an argument in Big Brother. Are you all watching it still? House's secret split. Big Brother bosses put the house on a secret lockdown and cut the show's live feed after an explosive row. Execs locked some of the housemates in a bedroom for more than an hour following a spat over a party with security on standby. Is that the best moment? Is that the most exciting moment there's been? And then they had to turn the cameras off? Is that true? It's worth watching. Oh, it's worth watching, Reese, is it? Yes, I thought you meant Big Brother for a minute there, but you mean the Beatles, obviously. You watch Steph Schultz. Is it? What can we jump in on Big Brother? How much longer is left? I don't know. I'm getting faster, as you can tell, because we're rapidly approaching 11 o'clock. Oh, hang on. No, go back. Oh, Big Bro. Oh, where's this one? End of the line for the Escobar. Yes. Pablo Escobar, his hippos. In fact, they're feral hippos. Imagine being a feral hippo. I think more people are eaten by hippos or killed by hippos than they are by lions, aren't they? Feral hippos descended from those which escaped from cocaine baron Pablo Escobar's private zoo are going to be culled. Poor hippos. It's better than being a drugs mule. Be a drugs hippo. Big Brother is good this year, says Faith Goodman. Don't say that. Got FOMO. The Boy, the Mole and the School Kids being let down. Oh, we love this. Thank you, Christos and Natasha, for our copy. This is such a lovely book. But there's a bit of an outcry here because Charlie McKeesy's bestseller is being put on the curriculum. And I don't think it's necessarily being put on the curriculum because of its literary qualities, but because of the kind of the ideas or the sensibilities that it promotes of kindness and patience and love and all this kind of stuff. But there's a bit of a kickback, certainly. This is a piece saying, does Charlie McKeesy's multi-million-pound best-selling The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, does it merit being on the curriculum? Likening the words in it or the literature to those sorts of sayings you get on greetings cards, like memes. I think if something promotes values that are good, kindness, greetings cards. Yeah, it's all right. I think we can cope with that. That's Charlie McKeesy. Give a dog a bone. They deserve more, says Rome Eatery. In Rome, there's a almost Michelin-starred eatery for dogs. It's called Fiuto. Fiuto. What does that mean, Dina? Fiuto. Fiuto. The first restaurant to serve just dogs. When the world's going mad, there's a restaurant serving dogs. It's an Italian word mostly used to describe an animal's sense of smell. It's been opened by Marco Turano, not your kind of restaurant, hey? Dogs and all that kind of stuff. I like this. We've got you We've got you under our skin. 54,000 people have signed up to the Daily Stars campaign to save Woolly the sheep. Britain's loneliest ewe has been stranded at the foot of a cliff for the past 2 years. Now, I've seen this story. It's been an important story knocking about. I think that ewe is escaping us. I don't think it wants to be rescued. I think he wants to stay in the valley. I think he's quite happy. She was first spotted in 2021 on the rocky beach near Ballintor, East of Ross. Now there's a petition saying they want to rescue her. Well, she doesn't want to be rescued. The British Hovercraft Company have offered to go and rescue her. Sound like if she's been there since 2021, she's having the time of her life. Absolute time of her life. Stephen, not do that. From lab to label, this was a quick one. Dina, they're making clothes out of fungi. Yeah. So you'll be a fungi. You could be a fungi wearing fungi, which would be nice. And the Germans sink it's all over. It is now. German tourists smashed the record for the world's biggest round. Wow. Sinking 1,234 beers. The gang of 42 men and 13 women downed £2,500 worth of booze in one sitting despite not knowing each other. It broke the previous record of 1,111 beers set at a bar in Mallorca, also by Germans, in July this year. There you go. Thrown the gauntlet down. If there's any Brits abroad, your challenge is to drink more than 1,234 beers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do 12,345. Anyway, guys, there you go. As I say, do check out all the media around this. Please, it's not for the faint-hearted, but there's Middle Eastern Eye, there's Al Jazeera, there's Sean King. There are many other individual journalists out there who are reporting in a non-biased, factual fashion, but just happen to be showing how awful things are, God forbid, in Palestine, because, of course, they are relentlessly being subjected to power outages, censorship, and control. So, it's about balance. It's about seeing what's happening. And by calling something out for what it is, it doesn't mean you are anti a race or anti anything. It means you're calling out bad behavior. And just as we called out the bad behavior of October the 7th, it was absolutely appalling. We are also, calling out the continued bad behavior of something that has stretched, we feel, way beyond self-defense now. Way beyond self-defense. So on that note, have a lovely day. And we are going to go over to the Curly Cooks in 5 minutes. So I'm going to... Do you want to quickly say something? Sorry.
Yeah, hi guys. Excellent coffee moaning, Mark. Excellent. That's not easy to sit there and talk by yourself.
Sadly, I had to block a couple of people because they were clearly trying to, they were trying... I knew where you were going and, have fun. Have fun trying to say that you can't say what you want to say.
Talking for humanity.
There was no contradiction.
So, guys, do join us. You're still going to spend more time in this house because at 11 o'clock we're doing the Curly Cooks and we're giving away today 2 tickets to the Ideal Home Exhibition on the 25th of November when Mark, Dina and I are going to be there cooking. So come and join us, 11 o'clock.
Guys, have a lovely, lovely day. And and a review of The Killer will be landing. Me and Nanny Di will be reviewing the new David Fincher film. Is it David Fincher? Is that his name? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I'm going to now wave. Goodbye.